has a camera.
Yes, sir.
In there.
Ah.
And then
And this one
speakers.
too.
There's no longer a TV crew here with,
And behind you.
oh,
So we're all set up.
There's a separate room with our audio, video assistant in it. And so we can start the meeting, call to order.
So
Got a
should I call
quorum?
you vice chair?
Please.
you cheering me?
Yes.
That's what I was asked to do.
I'll make a motion to start the meeting.
7:06.
Second?
Did you?
I don't think you have to, I think it's just
Call to order.
call to order.
Only to leave.
Why don't we follow the agenda like we always do?
Okay.
Works pretty effectively. How about the library director's report, Chris?
Okay. Director's report, February 2nd, 2023. We had 0 curbside pickup, 193 patrons, 292 students. We had 2 volunteers with a total of 5 visits and a total of 13 hours for the month. And we issued 3 new cards. For our Facebook totals, our page reach for January was 444. Our total page likes is now 802. Page followers is 878. Facebook has changed their MetaSuite Insights page, and I cannot locate the numbers to check of check-ins for January, so I can't update that. I'm sorry. Instagram page reach in January we had 3, and followers we had 39. The most popular posts on Facebook was, "Thank you Hubbardston DPW," because they shoveled out after the snow. It looked great. And that was 251 views. And the second one was, "We have heat," with 210 views. The most popular event that was viewed was the introduction of Storytime at 817. Wi-Fi connections for the month of January was 95. Library numbers. Hubbardston items circulated regardless of location. In January, that was 1,504. All items circulated at Hubbardston regardless of ownership. In January was 1,546. We had 273 holds in January. The total number of patrons registered at Hubbardston was 1,453. Total number of items in January was 12,103. For Overdrive, for the month of January, there were 491 checkouts. The library was closed Monday, January 2nd for New Year's Day, Monday, January 16th for Martin Luther King Day, Monday, January 3rd due to the storm, and Tuesday, January 24th due to no heat. Royal Steaming came and fixed the boiler. There was a low water indicator which would not allow the boiler to turn on. We opened at 12:30 on Wednesday, January 25th. The Senior Book Club met on the 25th and discussed The Art of Reading in the Rain by Garth Stein. There were 5 in attendance.
Was it reading in the rain or racing in the rain?
Did I say reading? My apologies. The Art of Racing
Okay, so
in the
this is
Rain
right.
by Garth Stein. The Not Just Knitting program with Tony was held on Tuesday, January 31st. I didn't write it down, I'm sorry. With 4 attending. That was to be filled in and I did not. I apologize. The displays in the adult reading room for January was financial health, and the children's reading room offered books for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I missed day 2 in that. I have hired Patricia Lowe to be our Storytime leader, and we just had one February 1st. I'll tell you about that next month. Her first I have also hired Ann Goey as the assistant librarian, and she will begin on February 6th. Respectfully submitted by Christine Barbera, and the numbers for the month, or up to now, are on the charts below.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job as usual.
Thank you. Whoops.
How did that do?
We have the January meeting minutes to approve. Any questions, comments?
I don't know if we need
I'll
to
go to
show,
the
I don't know
minutes.
if we need to show them.
I have a note, I believe it was when we adjourned at the end of the minutes, just, how it was typed of, the letter A and then 8:14, so I think that was
Oh, just
when
a
we were
typo?
adjourned, just a slight typo.
Okay, wait, let me fix that.
But I was just curious about that, and then maybe it was supposed to be at 8:14.
Probably.
But that's the only thing I noticed, and as usual, I think that you did a phenomenal job with the minutes.
Thank you. Okay, let me just find that and I can fix it right here.
As I read them, I feel like they are a great representation of the January 2023 minutes, or meeting. I'd make a motion to approve them.
Oh, okay, so I'll put at
At
8:14.
8:14 agenda,
Okay.
or adjourn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We have a second? All in favor?
Yes.
We're just
Okay,
throwing everything at you.
that's good, that's fine.
It'd be like one of those court reporters, you know?
Not really, really bad types. Okay.
CPC fund, we got electrical, we got foundation, we got Montech update. On the electrical front, I have been able to get a commitment from an electrician, come over and walk the job next week. We will, and get him going on it.
Wait, I'm sorry, you scheduled a
Next week,
walkthrough with
a
the
walkthrough, yeah.
electrician next week?
Yeah, they look at it and write a letter saying how much it's gonna cost, and then we can buy it.
Okay.
It's a small project, and he's a local fellow from Barry, Mr. Goldsmith. He's done work at the library before. I don't know if you remember him, Chris, he came from Barry.
I remember the name, I don't remember the job.
Well, he did electrical work,
Okay.
outlets and whatnot before, so I
Okay.
think you'll slide right into it.
Okay.
Foundation repair, we were gonna talk to DPW.
I've sent an email out and, the response, I believe, from Travis was that he would have to look at it before he could commit to it.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything since.
Well, it'll also be in the spring when the weather gets warm, so.
That's true.
So, drying
So, but
cement.
they are aware that we're looking for them to, help with us, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll bug them again when the weather breaks,
Right.
if it ever does.
So I'll say plan to make an appointment for him to walk through in the spring.
Great. And then Monty Tech update, you gave us one last month.
So Ryan Reich, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, informed me students are not eligible to work on the library, so projects themselves would not be a Monty Tech project eligible. The historic buildings, there are laws restricting students from working on historic buildings, such as the library. However, Monty Tech staff in their network are going to discuss and try to see if they can provide us with recommendations of somebody who can help prioritize our plans. Likewise, when Connie and I attended the CIPC meeting, we were talking about having a project management, and the CIPC suggested an OPM project manager.
Who was it?
An OPM, like a different title for a project manager.
You know what that means? Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I was just going back and reading the notes from that.
It did say OPM in the.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get a little bit more guidance and looking at help with prioritization of projects, so we're not double backing.
Was there a person who recommended the OPM?
I
That we
don't
could,
know who specifically mentioned it at the meeting.
that we could go to and then say, what's an OPM and
Are
where do we
those
find one?
meetings videoed?
Those are videoed as well.
Oh.
And I would go back to our town administrator and
Yeah.
kind of say, hey, suggestions, when you have a time, following up that way.
You wanna do that? You want me to do that?
I can.
Okay. And if you go there,
Mhm.
would you please, thank him for attending the meeting? I think
Yeah.
he has plenty of nights out, he doesn't need one more.
Yeah.
But I thought he was very warm and helpful and,
And you're referring to attending our meetings as well as the others in town? Is he
I mean, our
RBC?
meeting, well, I haven't attended other meetings when he was there, but I thought it was very good that he attended, and I thought he was very helpful.
So they're gonna get back to you, or we're gonna check back with them?
Both, yes.
Okay.
It will be a little while. He's working with a couple of different departments because I was talking about the scope of the projects that I knew of with the library. And then I had put in the context of it's an older historic building that we wanna keep the integrity of. We wanna make sure that we address heating concerns, so like HVAC, furnace, windows, storm windows,
Split.
foundation. That was with the HVAC, and general property management of lighting, that went into that, of just overall scope of projects and how we can continue to proceed to properly manage the building.
So, I'm sorry, can we just go back to this electrical update? Tom's scheduled to walk through next week. Tom anticipates the work will be completed by Mr. Goldsmith sometime.
She
I
didn't
don't
give
have a
time.
completion
We
date,
don't
but
know.
he,
Yeah.
Mr.
But
Goldsmith
he could
will-
start the work.
has said he can do
Ab-
it.
Okay.
And
I would leave
just-
it with the walkthrough date.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't put it to completion time.
Okay, alright. Okay, got it, thanks.
There is a CIPC, I don't know if it's a real hard deadline, but there is a deadline usually in the spring that you have to get your paperwork in by. Did they mention that?
Yeah, it's like next week.
So Connie
Can
had
we
already
bring that up,
submitted
that,
and they had discussed
this is
working
update?
to,
This is the summary, the written
Yeah.
summary.
Of the meeting?
yes, the January 9th.
I don't know if you got to see that before.
It doesn't open it up as a document, it
Well,
opens
that's
up as
okay.
a window, so it's on the right-hand side.
Could you scroll down if they find the date?
What date?
The date for the deadline for submitting all the paperwork?
I think it's further down.
Oh, sorry.
And they have
Nope, that's
January
the date.
Proposals need to be
31.
submitted by February 6th, which I believe is Monday.
Their meeting is February 9th. Oh yeah, there you go. Do you wanna submit a proposal for capital planning consultant, number 2?
I think we should. I thought that was Connie's intention as well.
Yeah, she said flat out that she can't work on that if she's gonna be away.
That's fine. I don't think it's a complex proposal.
Did you find out if we, cause I thought it was, they were confused because we were asking for $6,000, but they already were budgeting some other amount for us.
We do, my understanding is that we had from the long-term strategic plan previous,
It's here. It's on the back of Chris's
funding,
report.
yes, with them, and they were asking for clarification on that.
I guess I'm wondering if we need to ask for more money if we already have.
You have to
Well-
ask for it for a purpose.
So it's specific for specific projects.
I think we need, I could write it up, so one paragraph or two paragraph request for, they ask is $6,000 enough? Easy enough to increase it.
How much more would we
Well,
ask
we either
for?
increase it or we say that it's for a specific term. And then if we need more, we go back after 1 year or 2 years.
we also need a progress, that's the other committee.
Well, let's deal with one thing at a
Right,
time.
okay, so we're
Why
doing
don't we
number
just
2.
say on February 6th, we submit a letter to ask for this OPM concept. And it would fund it from June 30th, 23.
You should just make it July 1st.
You're right, that's the right date. Through 7/1 or 6/30/24. And we ask for I don't know, $9,000 instead of 6. We've got it contained by the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And if we need more, we can go back, but that's $750 a month.
To not increase the request to 9,000.
I'm making a proposal on it, I'm not.
Okay.
I do not disagree with you, I don't know the scope of it, I don't know what is reasonable.
Well,
I'm just trying to get down what you were saying, I'm sorry.
we will find out in the first year.
Yeah.
And if in February we run out of money, we stop him. And if we have money left over,
Oh,
we
I
know
see what you're
that we
saying.
don't need as
That
much
makes sense.
the following
Uh-huh.
year,
Okay.
or her.
$9,000 to.
Would anyone like to write that paragraph, or do you want me to?
If you're comfortable with getting it done for February 6th,
Well, that's next Monday.
it's Monday.
I can do it.
Um,
2-paragraph letter?
Yeah.
Does anybody need more than a 2-paragraph letter, where you have some notes there about what you talked about, you know,
Mhm.
windows and HVAC and.
I
Who
think
is this letter going to?
It's going
That's
to the
going to-
committee that would vote to give us some money.
It's the CIPC, Capital Improvement Planning.
Capital
Committee.
Improvement Committee?
So
No,
where's the?
actually, it doesn't go to the capital improvement committee, it goes to the, what do they call themselves? The committee for, the committee where we got the money the last time, CPC,
So this would be separate, this would be for the CPC, because
Community
the other thing-
Preservation Committee.
So I'm a little bit confused at this point of what we're doing and why. So under our action items, number 2 as well as it's just asking if we want to submit a proposal, and this would be for a capital planning consultant. It would
Who's
be
asking?
submitted,
Which committee is asking?
well, this is where I am at this point confused.
Right, I don't believe the CIPC, Capital Improvement Planning Committee, has any money.
We currently have a funding request already for a planning consultant with the CIPC.
Well, that is here's what happens, I think. I hope I can explain it. The Capital Improvement Planning Committee is a planning committee
Correct.
which wants to know how much money different parties in town need, and they plan that in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
But it's planning, it's not allocation. They can't give you any money. The Community Preservation Committee has a source of funds, and it's taxpayer funds. It's through some real estate mechanism. And they have funds every year, and they can allocate it. The rules of that committee say that they have to allocate it according to historical preservation, recreation, and some other categories. But they can actually vote to say, we're gonna give recreation $20,000 to build a basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
Then they take that vote, their committee's vote, and they bring it to town meeting in June. And in June, the town gets to either substantiate their request or deny their request. The Capital Improvement Planning Committee is just planning the capital the Community Preservation Committee is actually
Allocation.
funding and allocation. How was that?
Pretty
Make
good.
sense?
My question is, under our action items, do we want to submit a proposal for a planning consultant? This is to the CPC?
Yes, because they can allocate the money to you.
Okay.
But
So
we
that
also-
was my clarification question of, this is to the CPC, CIPC.
I would send my letter.
It does say
Because-
CPC on this
As
update.
action number one of having their
Yeah.
meetings.
And so.
In that we currently have. I'm backtracking.
Okay, I can't figure out how to close this stuff.
I think the planning people need to know that this is an expense that would go on for multiple years.
I think the planning people, the CIPC, who we met with in early January, Connie and I were discussing with them with regards to plans already submitted by the library to the CIPC, and they are aware of that, and they're also aware, and they shared with us changes in the long-term strategic planning, and so, like, some projects may be shifted in their advice and planning, and how they put the pieces of the puzzle together, and I think that they are aware of that, and they're aware of the multiple requests that we're making, and they're trying to streamline and merge what they can.
Right.
And that was what I had as a takeaway from
The-
that meeting.
The planning committee can pretty much do anything they want. They can
Yeah.
lump these funds together and whatnot. The Community
Community
Preservation
Preservation.
Committee cannot. When the town votes to allocate money for a new basketball court, they can't unilaterally take the basketball court and build a hockey rink.
Okay,
They have to use it for what its purpose is or give it back.
okay,
Because the town voted the purpose
okay,
and the amount. So, I don't see a problem. I will write a letter to the people who can give us money,
okay,
the CPC people.
okay,
And, they usually have they want to know about your intent in October, and then they meet again in February and March and get ready to write an
And they're-
article for the town meeting.
they're meeting next week, so, proposal submission Monday the sixth, they're meeting on Thursday evening at 7.
And they would like the progress report.
They want the progress report?
Yeah,
Okay, but that's for other allocations.
right, that's for the brick repair.
Yeah,
So can somebody give that?
well, that would be
Oh,
a separate.
Connie can attend that meeting.
That would be a separate document,
Right,
not to be confused with the request for money, but rather
Correct.
the report on money.
right. So,
I'm perfectly willing to draft something
Okay.
according to our own meeting minutes,
That would
which
be
just went
great.
through. Electrical, foundation, Monty Tech, and I think there's a floor rehab.
well, it says they would like a progress report on the brick repair and first floor rehab.
Okay. I'll draft something, if that's okay.
That would be great. So I think I have this now, I think I understand it better. Thank you, Tom. So there were two to-dos. One is the meeting on Thursday, the 9th, that they would like the progress report. And Tom will draft a progress report that either you or Connie could give that
Yeah,
meeting.
I'll give it to Connie as a draft, and she can touch it up and present it.
Okay.
She hasn't left town yet,
I think she, I don't know.
or she can attend that meeting, I guess is what I
She
should
said she
say.
could, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then the number 2 is Tom will submit a proposal to the CPC by February 6th, to request, to increase, I have to fix this, to request, to increase the request that we made to the CIPC, to increase it to $9,000 to
Yeah,
pay for the.
why don't we just make it easy? Request $9,000 for
To
an OPM.
request that sounds good.
For a 1 year's worth of OPM.
Okay, to request okay, so we're just not dealing with that other 6,000. To pay for the initial 1 year of OPM consulting.
Right.
Okay.
I don't think that's a perpetual position,
Right.
but it would be, you know, this much the first year, this much the second year, this much the third year, and then after a
Okay.
while, it should be a little bit automatic pilot.
Okay. So we don't have to mention the previous $6,000.
No, we do in our meeting minutes, but
Well, so
we're
how do I put that
superseding
in?
it. Well,
This supersedes, I can just write that, that's fine. This supersedes the previous request for $6,000. Okay, thank you.
one more question, was Ryan Reish, or whatever his last name is, did I say it? Reish?
Yeah.
Was he going to come up with a idea for that, or?
He's trying to get a list of contacts, but I don't know. It would definitely be a back burner behind teaching students and what they're doing
Yeah.
on their own.
These guys usually know a lot of people.
Exactly.
Could you just touch base with him and say, can you give us a couple names and we'll chase
I already
them?
have.
Well,
That's what I did.
all right. What I meant was touch base again with him.
Okay.
No,
I
I
have
mean-
been in contact with him 3 times.
Okay.
So
well, then
I
you handle it.
don't.
I'm sorry.
You need to wait a little bit of time maybe
Yeah,
to get
that's
back to
fine.
him.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is that
Yeah,
with
that's
the
fine.
last one, he had indicated it's going to be a while before I hear back.
Okay.
So
that's fine.
I don't,
Forget my request, just go ahead as you're charging along.
How do you
Fine.
spell his last name? I'm sorry.
I'll have to bring it up.
Okay. This is the really hard stuff that we have to do on all these.
How to spell?
No, 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 I not how to
It's
spell, but
REGE.
just. Oh, okay, thank you. Just all this
Yep.
committees and funding, work, construction. Okay. Thank you, Tom, for doing that hard
Well,
stuff.
Don't get too enthused, it's only a 2-paragraph letter.
Yeah, but it's important.
Do we wanna go through Chris gave us a boiler and furnace update in her report.
I could expand on it. Phil from Royal Steam, who impresses me, one of the pump that we had that issue with years ago was leaking again, so he replaced it and it should be okay now. We also had a spigot that was leaking and he replaced that as well, so there shouldn't be any more leaks out of the boiler room area.
So they replaced broken parts.
They replaced a leaking pump
Okay.
and a spigot, in addition to dealing with the low water indicator, which was malfunctioning because there wasn't enough water in the furnace.
So, okay. And did you say they had to order these parts especially?
No,
Oh, okay.
Who are you referring to? Who's in charge of the furnace? And
me.
is there a facilities manager in this town does this kind of thing?
No. There is not.
Okay.
Are you volunteering?
No, I'm not.
Chris is, we appreciate very much her going back to school for her library degree, but now we'd like her to go back to school for her
Plumbing.
stationary boiler license.
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
I'm having a hard time learning where our job is and ends in relation to everything else in the town, to tell you the truth, you know. I'm not a plumber, I'm not an electrician, and I'm having a little hard time following what's going on here. And eventually I'll get into it, and I'll know what's going on better than I do right now.
Well, I think we're all, well, I know I'm struggling too, but, you know, we're the due diligence, you know, we don't have to be the experts, but we do have to make sure that we're, you know, looking at it and trying to make sure that the options are what we think they should be and that kind of thing. I mean, some of us have more expertise than others.
No.
And likewise, like, when Connie and I attended the CIPC, we were going there with the language of having like a architect and having engineers and things like that, and we were redirected for this title of like an OPM, which was new and still is new to me, of having
OPM.
OPM.
What does that mean?
Like, I don't know what the O stands for, but
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably operations project management.
yeah, because it says project management, so operations project management. So that's a term I'm not familiar with, but in the process of doing this, this is where we learn. It's kind of like home ownership. You buy a
Yeah.
house that has creaks and pops and you don't exactly know what it is, but you learn over time.
It could also be property manager.
Could be.
That's a title that comes,
It certainly is
sometimes comes up.
yep.
So we'll find out, and we'll ask for one, and we'll go find one.
So
Have
the
we
boiler seems to be working well now.
It's working great.
Have we adequately covered the CIPC and the CPC discussion? Leaving only the cable commission?
I think so, but mostly because you're doing all the work.
Oh, please, let's not overdo it, it's a letter.
I'm looking on our town calendar and I see the January 31st, but I don't see the next meeting for the cable company, cable advisory.
Well, did they publish meeting minutes? Usually at the end.
Mine is extremely slow, so I'm not able to access it yet.
Let me check on here. I don't.
Well, all right, what's the recommendation, attend the next meeting?
That's what I was going to propose, depending on when it
All right,
is.
let's say we'll attend the next meeting, and when it happens, it happens.
Oh.
Find out and attend it.
Okay, so we'll, a representative of the trustees will attend their February meeting or something.
There's no date now for that meeting,
I can call either Gary Gangas or Tom Collier and ask him what's his plan and attend it. Get on the agenda and attend it.
Last time they put in minutes, it was April 2022.
Well, also given that the meeting was just like 2 days ago.
Yep.
I'll just say February or March.
Oh, Brittany. Okay, then,
Depending when it is, I will do the best I can to attend that. I'm not able to attend February 9th's, CPC meeting. Connie states that she is able to attend that meeting. Others are welcome to attend. I don't know if anybody else is available on the
Yeah, I
9th.
probably can't.
February 9th?
It's
Which
next
meeting is that
Thursday.
again?
That's the CPC,
Community,
Preservation Committee. Council.
Can't tell you.
I don't remember.
All right. Library Director Performance Report Review Progress, process, I'm sorry. Who's got that?
Oh, those were some nice documents.
I'm sorry?
The library director performance, so that we're aware, but, yeah.
Okay. I'll, before we do the library director, I will say I did an evaluation of Gabby, and she was fine, so. Good for another year.
What's our intention? We probably had less than the full committee doing this.
That was my understanding, is that less than the full committee, and not to put it onto Connie's plate. Place it on one of us.
One
How,
or
how
two?
many can we
One or
have?
two.
We can have 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
can't have
Sure.
3, right?
Oh, you mean for quorum?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's best if we do 2.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to work on it.
I am likewise.
I mean, I don't think it has to be, I guess we just wanna write it down how we're gonna do it, cause we apparently don't have that
Well,
written down, that we're going to, you know, in May or whatever, some specified time period, Chris will do her, there was a.
Self-evaluation.
Yeah, the self-evaluation, there was a, or maybe it's on this document, it's just further down, the self-evaluation, and then,
Mhm.
1 or 2 people on the trustees would complete the, performance evaluation, which looks at the job description, and then you meet to discuss those things, right?
well, I'd like to nominate the 2 people who
Yeah, I'm happy to.
volunteered for it and make it happen.
Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with it, yeah.
Okay.
Bob, do you have any problem with that?
No, not at all.
Okay, so Tom. I think that, I could just copy that
I
and say,
agree.
this is what we're gonna do.
Exactly.
Okay, and just put that in here.
And following the receipt of self-evaluation, we'll continue with the process to meet and discuss. Sounds good?
Okay.
Yeah.
So should I just say we adopt this
Yeah, I think that's
timeframe?
good.
Or not procedure?
How does that mesh with the financial input for the budget?
You mean the timeframe?
I've already submitted the budget for the library.
Has the town specified the performance increase limits?
Oh.
As of right now, I asked for a 2% cost of living for the assistant librarians and for me. They have not, that's as far as I've gotten. I've submitted it to Nathan and he's working on the financials now, so I don't know what I don't think he's, completed it yet, or he hasn't gotten back to me on it. So I don't know what that's gonna be.
He didn't announce about it.
Nothing.
Okay.
It doesn't have to wait till the town meeting?
No, he puts his budget together probably by March 1st or March 15th.
He tries to get it, well, if I and I'm recalling from, it might have been
Right.
in meeting with the finance committee, I think that they're trying to get numbers by February, at least from the school, so that they can start figuring out what's going on. So,
Okay.
Chris, when do you submit a budget for the year? What date do you?
what date? I don't have my computer in front of me, it's, usually in December, I make my, submission by the end of December. Nathan or Ryan or Tony or whoever it was would send me a form that would say, this is what you had last year, what are you submitting this year?
You go,
And
yeah,
he attached it, or they attached it to an email that said, we're trying to level fund, so work on that except for salary. So, I calculated it at 2% increase for salary, and I level funded, services and supplies. And that gave me an overall increase of, I think it was 1.06% increase over the entire budget, which is still within the parameters that the state is looking for an increase for us.
do we see a copy of that budget? This
I
committee?
gave, well, I gave a copy of the budget request to you in the last meeting that we had, with, attached to my
Okay.
director's report.
I must have my file someplace, okay.
Okay. Let me see if I might have it in my bag from last time. I make no guarantees.
Okay.
So, I don't know if we're done with. Well, I guess were you asking about the budget because you wanna know if an increase is tied to the performance review?
Well, I think an increase can flow from the performance review, and I wanted to know if the town
Well-
had set the limits on such a thing. And usually when there are limits set, there's also a mechanism by which you can
So I had this someplace, right?
submit an exception to
Okay.
the limits. So if,
When I sent it to you,
something
the email
financially has
last
to be
month,
changed,
it was
then-
attached to that, my director's report for January.
So we wanna consider how the performance review
You don't have to write all of it. That's kind of long.
Because I think what she was asking for was just more like a cost of living increase.
That's correct, and that's different than a, performance
Right.
increase.
But so do we wanna try to,
Well, one has to sit on top of the other, and if, sometimes the towns are so strapped for cash, they say, nobody's getting a raise. But I don't know that he's declared such a thing.
so we don't
Doesn't sound
wanna
like he
address
has.
that right now?
I don't think we have to.
Okay.
He will be.
But
we
I
don't
mean,
know.
I think it does need to be part of this discussion if we're like recommending it or something.
Yeah,
So consider how the performance review can be tied to
the budget.
a pay increase though.
Well, aren't tied to a pay increase, which impacts the budget.
Permission to ask me
Hmm?
when I speak with him?
I'm sorry?
Should I ask him to clarify with me for wording?
Sure.
Is this a situation?
When will you meet with him? I missed it.
I'm going to follow up with him, to ask if he has recommendations for like an OPM as well. And with regards to Monty Tech, not to say I won't follow up with them, but I mean, I just heard from them between our last meeting and this
Yeah.
meeting.
Sure.
So I wanna be able to give him, because he had said, and I anticipated taking like a month to 2 months to
Yeah.
hear back. That's the expectation, so I don't wanna be on his back of, hey,
That's okay.
especially given all the other projects that they're doing for the community. Other avenues of seeking out project management would include reaching out to Nate and seeing if the town has suggestions.
The other way to do it might be to talk to some other librarians. Peterson and
I can do that.
Winchendon.
Well, the
and-
MBLC has a whole section on building, construction and stuff. I looked at it a little bit, but I didn't really get that far, but I can look into that too.
Is that intended like new construction or maintenance?
Well, I think probably both.
Actually, I just got an email, and I think you might get, if you guys are on the list, you'll get the email as well. They're talking about how they revamped the, library construction, Mass General Laws requirements. And they're changing it a little bit, not a lot, not enough to affect us, but they do have a whole department that can come out and help, make your library, not make it, but, hopefully explain to you how your library should.
A better assessment than the walkthrough that we did a couple years ago?
I have no idea. I don't know, but, I didn't get through it because there was the 19-page Mass General Law breakdown, and and then there was another info sheet which didn't really it showed how they're trying to streamline the process for construction loans. It still isn't gonna apply to us.
I'll be happy to kind of review that and peruse and see if there's anything in the
Sure.
MBLC that applies to that, and I'm also happy to reach out, I'll reach out to other local library and see if they're trustees and or librarians.
Well, there's that trustee listserv, you know, we could put something on that, I think I mentioned it to you guys.
I'm on the trustee listserv, but I do remember hearing about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could send a message to it.
Do you mind doing that?
Yeah.
I know that the Mass Historical Commission, not to be confused with any library commission, but the Mass Historical Commission has a list of acceptable contractors by category: electricians,
Mhm.
roofing and whatnot,
It's a-
architects. There might be something there, and I'll take a look at it.
The Mass Historical Society
Mass Historical Commission.
Commission, not the
MHC.
right.
If you're working on a historical building, you have to be, in some way
There's a special license
certified
as
or
well,
licensed,
yeah.
so. Okay.
So this highlighted wording, I don't know if you were gonna say something
That's
else,
fine.
but can we just clarify that and then we can,
If we, in place of the question marks, we could even name it, review subcommittee.
okay, I wrote down 2 representatives of the
I
library
like that.
trustees.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we understand them to be Morgan and Kristen.
okay, so, wait, but do you think Connie wants it?
Well, I thought Connie was out of pocket, so
In May, I don't know if she's going to be around in May.
why are we doing it in May?
Timeline of evaluation, annual
Is
basis.
that good for you?
Performance should be
What's good for
conducted
you?
in May.
Is
My
May's
whole,
fine.
my whole
So,
point was if we're
the
gonna.
timeframe?
If we're going to in any way deal with money, you have to get it in before May. You have to have it done probably by the end of March.
Well, I'm leaving at the end of March for a vacation, so.
So that's another good reason. Let's try to get it by the end of March, before Chris leaves.
Okay,
Need a volunteer? I'll volunteer.
Are you
For-
able to perform a self-review? And how much time would you need for that?
Not much. If
Okay.
you send me the self-review, I can fill it out.
And then, Chris, so are there days of the week that work best for you?
I can't do Tuesday or Wednesday, but any other day. But I think we should ask Connie, I mean, if she wants to
Let's-
do it, I don't have to do it.
Okay, let's reach out in an email separate to see
Okay.
if Connie wants to be involved.
Okay,
And then we can figure out timing of that.
okay, so I'm changing this to early March. Prepares a self-assessment of the performance of the past year. Director also identifies goals for the upcoming year. Self-assessment is submitted to the library trustees for their review. So do we,
So then, rather than adopting this process, we're going to update it, so rather than May, are we making it the timeframe March? Or do we need to make it February if Nate is asking for budget for February? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
So-
let's try to have it done by the March trustees meeting. Because it says we're gonna look at it.
okay, for their okay, so then we have to say February.
That's what I'm trying to figure out is, this is our February meeting, so we need to have it for March, but
Well,
I'm
Nate,
working back-
Nate, Nate?
Nate?
Nathan? He works on the budget, but he doesn't finalize it.
Okay.
So,
So,
Nate,
Nate,
he works on the budget, but he doesn't finalize it.
But he's doing the draft for February, or did I mishear that?
Well, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. It won't be finalized until late March at the earliest.
Okay.
They traditionally have a pretty hard time gathering all the information. Then it has to go to the selectmen.
I thought I had heard that was for February, so that's where I was being
Wait, so
confused
when
on
are you
timeframe.
leaving? I wrote it down, I think.
Yeah, I don't really wanna tell you.
No,
It's
okay.
getting recorded.
Yeah, okay, I got it, okay, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, I just meant, is this timeframe gonna work with your plans for this year?
I can make it work.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
And you've reminded us of the fact that you are disappearing for a while. Have you got that all set, or do you need anything to make that happen smoothly?
As I said, Anne's starting on the 6th, so I'll get her comfortable. If I need any shifts filled up, I will, I'll adjust. I've got, Gabby and Tony can step up, cause she has experience too, so. I think you can move along.
Congratulations on the hires and story time starting back
Yeah,
up too.
Thank you. Thank you. Alright, so you guys are all set with this?
Well, we need to decide, cause there was a note on here about the evaluating group completes the last, moving,
Yeah.
switching the last two, items. But I didn't really understand that. Because I think we have to meet before we can do
So I think their time frame was based on fiscal year starting July 1st, you do the review in May to be able to wrap up the year. Not taking into consideration town
No, what I'm
budgets.
saying is those two highlighted things, there was a note saying to switch, suggesting to switch those, but I don't really understand. So
Let's-
Chris fills out her form,
Then you guys
And
meet
then-
with her.
right,
do
but
the
we have to
evaluation.
fill out our form,
Right, with her.
So,
Set the goals,
but then,
sign it off, and you're done.
what happened with Josephine? Did she fill out that form with you, or did she do it separately and then talk to you about it?
Nope, I filled out the form, she looked at it and said, no, you're rating yourself too low, and I said, no, I'm just starting, and, she kept trying to push him up to 5s, and I said, no, I'm still learning, so, that's
So-
pretty much how it went.
Krista, am I wrong in thinking that the evaluation group would be the same as in the first highlighted sentence, the question marks?
Yes.
So you're on that
Yes.
same understanding?
Yes. But I guess I'm still not clear whether the evaluation group fills out something separately, reads Chris's evaluation, self-evaluation, meets and fills out something and then meets with her about it. I think that's what
think-
has to happen.
I think it could be done,
However way
quite
you wanna do it.
honestly, in one meeting. There might be sub-processes in one meeting.
Yeah,
but I
don't make
mean-
this more complicated than it has to be, it's.
Yeah, so I mean,
You're basically saying, okay, so this is what, there's different, the rubric, you fill out the rubric, I fill out the rubric, I go, I meet with you, you guys look at it, and, you agree or disagree with me and explain why. And then you fill out the form with, what you think I did, was I meeting expectations, was I not meeting expectations,
There's room for comments.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
So it all happens at the same meeting, is what
I
you're
would
saying.
think it could all happen at the
Okay.
same meeting.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
And-
don't make this,
And the order of it could change, so if she does that, if the evaluating group then completes the performance evaluation form, you sign it, we then discuss the work, any open discussion, as well as goals for the next year. If that's the order
So
of
this is really
it,
just
fine.
one thing instead of two things, that would solve it.
It's
Yeah.
one document.
No, but I mean, those two things are not separate events, they could be combined.
Yeah, so I think it's talking process, but it could all be at one event.
So instead of sending it, we discuss it. That may help.
And it's not May, it's more like March.
Right.
For the March
So, but we
meeting.
gotta say February for some of these things, because, right, so the time frame, library director evaluation should be conducted in March, so.
Yeah. Should be
In
completed,
could be completed by, okay, thank you. Okay, so then I'll change these other things to February,
Okay,
or in early February, which is like now, right? Okay. Okay, so do we need a motion? Tom motions to adopt this procedure for the performance review of the library director?
no, I don't think we need to do that. I mean, we're just setting a calendar. We're not inventing anything here. There's no new authorizations, there's no,
Okay,
do we need to vote on the two members that do it?
Will this happen at a regular meeting, or these two people will do it by themselves?
They do it by themselves. Think that's appropriate?
I think so too.
okay, so.
The document, I believe, is a public document. Is that true? Or is that an executive, well, even if it's
I don't think
executive
HR
session.
I
stuff
don't
is
think
usually
so.
public.
All right, then it's a confidential document, but would the rest of the trustees get to read it?
Yeah, it says the self-assessment is submitted to the library trustees for their review.
Okay,
But it would
then-
have to be an executive session.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, it's in an executive session if Chris elects that it be an executive session. Doesn't have to be.
I think it should be. Or maybe we say can be. But I don't understand why we would vote on the people and not the procedure.
If you wanna vote on the process, fine. I mean, we beat it to death.
It's similar, I view it, and it's safe, it's similar to adopting the process of borrowing materials and
All
things
right,
like that, we voted
anybody
for
wanna
that.
make a motion?
Well, you did, to adopt this procedure for the performance review of the library director.
Anybody wanna
I'll
second
second it.
Anybody want a favor?
All in favor?
Okay.
Done.
And then for the people,
I think Tom nominated us. I'm pretty sure that
I
Bob
did.
agreed.
okay.
So we have a little subcommittee and off we go. All right.
However, that's contingent also with checking with
Yeah, I wrote down.
Connie.
Yeah.
That's correct,
Okay.
that was in the note.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
We're up to library website review. What does that entail?
Let's see.
Too
It was
small.
I think
Looks
if
good,
you
I
click
must
on
say,
that
too.
other
That's
little,
future agenda items, go
I
up.
think
Yeah,
if you
I
click
know.
on that
There
other
we go.
little symbol, you might be able to not preview it, yeah,
That right there?
yeah, or the words. No, that, yeah.
Alright. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
He's looking, it sounds like it's gonna be more a task force. So what Nate is looking for is to have everybody have the same message, social media wise. I am uncertain if if what his desire is going to influence our website in any way. Especially now that we're revamping our website, getting it updated, so that it's more, ADA compliant. So it's still in the, it's not shifted over. They sent me a, template, you know, not a template, I'm thinking of the word and I can't, it's not coming to me. An example, they set one up based on, you know, what it's gonna look like, and there's no data in it.
Model or some kind?
A
That-
model, thank you.
That's a website model or
A
the
website.
ADA compliance model?
No, right now it's just a website model with what the screen would look like, with the background, with our, you know, really basic information, and how I can grow it. It's gonna be a lot easier to add stuff to it with the new procedures that they have. However, that is a tangent from this.
This is basically cleaning up and advice of if the pages are not in use. It seemed like clean it up, remove it.
Clean it up, update it, make it easier for me to, you know, get the policies on, cause I can't add a page to put the policies on this current page. I have to send it to the company that handles our website to do it, whereas now I'd be able to do it myself,
Mm-hmm.
so.
I also, when he was talking about this last month, I got the impression he was trying to, in modern terminology, make like a Hubbardston brand.
Okay.
You know, so there's some consistency. You're in Hubbardston's website and you go here, you go there, you go there.
Right.
And they all kind of mechanically operate the same way.
Yep.
And they all have some basic content
Okay.
and consistency.
Right.
We don't want one website telling a story that isn't consistent with the main website or some other branch.
Okay.
They can be different,
Right.
but they shouldn't be inconsistent.
Okay.
So, I think you're going along fine. I just wanted to mention that. I think he was trying to kind of standardize Hubbardston's web pages.
Okay, so you're talking about the HubbardstonMA.us
Yes.
webpage.
Right.
Okay.
I think with this, you know, we already are using a template, and they set it up originally with things like meeting room and friends, which we don't really use, so that's part of it too. On the new version, we're not gonna have things that don't apply. We're gonna put like the policies or whatever, new things that we wanna have on there, right?
Right.
I mean, that's what the rest of what's on that,
Yep.
on that document.
Is there a scroll down on that? There we go.
Can you go to the library website?
I know, it's a very good looking website, very well planned and very appealing and frankly, but
Sorry, I type slow. Ah, look at that, I can't even type. There we go.
yeah,
Yeah.
looks good.
Yeah, so it'll be pretty much like that, it's just the categories may be a little bit different.
Could you go up and click on the Hubbardston Public Library symbol up in the corner?
No.
I thought I remembered it being, I must have been on some of the towns. No, it's not hot, and so
Could be a link.
Correct, I could be wrong, but I believe Laura Foley designed that. A previous library trustee.
Yeah.
And as far as the town website, I got access to put our minutes and our agenda on there, so I think
Thank you.
from the town point of view, we're up to date on our page, you know, with
I gotta
what we
update
need
that.
to have.
I have to update that for, I had Martin Luther King Day up there, I gotta update it for President's Day.
Do we link from this site? How do we get to our own meeting minutes on this site?
We
Well,
can't.
We'll have to add that.
With the,
With
well,
the new
like I
one.
said,
We can,
with
right.
the updated website,
so
I'll
we
be able
can-
to do that and link it
It'll be a
right to
click.
it. Yes.
Okay, then I don't wanna, I think going down through future agenda items kind of,
It will be redundant.
rehashes some old stuff, so. Are we prepared to say we've completed tonight's business, or does anybody have any comments, questions, suggestions?
Just two quick things. One is, we're starting to look at the public services policy, so that'll probably be the next one that we do. There's already a version of it, but we're trying to figure out, how it relates to the ones that we just approved, like, there's a little bit of public service type things in the circulation policy, so anyway, we're gonna be working on that. And then what about the scholarship, I thought, what's the timeframe on that?
In the past, I think we extended it to, but we had the deadline, the last one was like June. But if the.
So we'll talk about that at the next meeting?
Yeah,
That's what
and
I
if the
meant.
subcommittee, or if the, trustees are open to starting to advertise, we could discuss it at the next one and get the ball going for March.
Okay, I just wanted to note that we'll have that on the March meeting.
Yeah, add that to the March agenda.
Quick to get that going.
Thanks.
So my question remains, does anybody have any questions, comments? Otherwise, we can wrap it up,
I'm fine with making a motion to adjourn.
then do it.
I make a motion to adjourn. At
Second.
8:12 PM. All in favor?
Very good, folks. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have to figure out how to get into this building for the
I'll
next
talk to
meeting.
Sandy and see if I can get the 4-digit code.
Okay. Tom could get us in the back way if we need it.
That's
And thank you for
impressive.
bringing this, Chris came over and figured out just how to set this her laptop up so we could, watch, show
Bob,
stuff on the
did you get your
screen.
citation already?
I think I already got my.
Yeah, we were at the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't
Oh, nice.
claimed it yet, but I.
How much
I
frame
didn't
Came
know
in
I
the
was
mail.
a servant.
That came in the mail today.
It's like the Wizard of Oz.
Your wife hasn't clarified that for you?
Huh, oh, that's cool.
Oh, my.
What's
That
what's
just
that?
came in the mail today about heat pumps and National Grid.
Which brings up the whole
Yeah.
issue of an energy audit of this whole building. Is that gonna happen sometime?
Oh, actually, okay. So, Nate did say that there are plans to run through like the entire town.
Oh,
and-
good.
And kind of audit,
Yeah, he
So
said
yes.
that last month,
yes.
so we don't have to reopen our
Yes.
meeting.
Okay. It seems that should happen before a lot of other things, you know, like new windows or, wiring, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the wiring we're doing is so that people can plug their computers in.
Oh, yeah, I
This is
know
not
that,
fancy.
but the idea of, the boiler and the heating system and windows.
Well, we say boiler, but it's really the whole system, all the steam pipes, the
Yeah.
fans,
Chris, are you going back to the?
it's complicated.
I was not planning
Okay,
on
that's
it.
fine, I'll just take this home with this. Okay, absolutely.
Thank you very much, and especially
Thank
thanks
you.
to you for your patience. I don't know, you're there, we talk in generality.